Welcome to Chat TGR. I'm Dan.
I'm Jake.
And we have the wonderful Mr. Adrian Thorpe with us. From ThorpyFX.
Thanks for having me.
Mate, this is awesome. Thank you so much for coming down. So Jake is away on holidays. I didn't. No, Joe. Sorry, Joe's away. Jake is still here in person.
Am I real?
But Joe's away.
I've eaten Joe.
We didn't burn him. So yes, and so I gave Thorpy a call and said, "Dude, will you come down?" He said, "Yeah."
Yeah.
So there we go.
Awesome, man.
Thank you.
No, I'm glad to be here. It takes a lot to get me to Swindon, if I'm honest. But I'm only joking.
You
were here in a heartbeat. You're like,
I used to live here. I can't say that.
one of us.
Anyway, we're going to get into it today. You've just released a pedal. We've got lore. Apparently, it's my son doesn't call it history anymore. It's lore.
Right. Okay.
That I want to go through.
Yeah.
I want to look at, because we've known each other a long time.
Yeah, I think so.
And I want to look at everything that's happened and your favourite pedals and what got you into this. Got a load of people on, going to have the questions for you. So let's get into it. Lizzie, who do we have on today?
We have Gordon Neal from Edinburgh.
Oh, g'day, mate.
We've got Todd Roy, hello.
Hey,
Dan,
Todd.
Jake, Joe, Lizzie. Neil, good morning from Berkeley, California. Just bought my first Thorpy pedal this week, the Gunshot.
Well, hey.
I'm so impressed with the quality. Will never, ever leave my board.
Oh,
Yep.
awesome. Thank you.
Scott Curry, greetings, everyone.
Hey, bud.
Yo.
From Boston. Colin Diamond. We've got Hello Sailor Effects Official. Hello, guys. Hope you're all well. Bill
buddy.
Green, Airfire afternoon, everyone. Had to catch a lot of this live just for Thorpy. Normally just catch the replay, but made a special effort.
Oh, well done.
It's hoping I swear.
Richard Chester from Cheshire, Gav Thorpe, Matt Swanton, Todd Roy, lots of people. So
Oh,
they're
that's
all
awesome.
excited.
The whole gang's here.
Yeah. The whole gang's back together. Right, so let's get into it. I want to start with the SIX ZERO.
Yeah,
Came out yesterday.
it did. I've got one.
Can we have a look?
This
So,
is yours, actually. So
oh my word.
there you go.
Really?
It's a present, yeah.
Mate,
There's a sticker. Sorry. Because we're still in our 10th
that's your
year.
10th year.
Yeah. So we're still in it. So
I love like the cake aesthetic that you've done on the pedals and
There you
stuff.
go.
The 10th year, it's really cool.
Oh, dude. Okay, all right. So, look, we have new technology. There you go, Lizzie. It's a fuzz Trem. Now, you tell me if I'm wrong. You did a limited run of something like this for Andertons?
yeah, that's right. So Lee was celebrating. Well, Andertons were celebrating 60 years.
60.
Which is,
years,
was absolutely
man.
monster. And Lee came to me and said, look, we want to do something special, but we don't just want a special colourway. We want
Something fully
Special
special.
thing.
a special thing. What can you do? And I was like, well, we've been working on this and we've been working on this. And they go really well together. And so the fuzz side of it is a Mark 1 tone bender, but in silicon.
Hang on. A Mark 1 tone, like a proper Mark 1 tone?
Yeah, but in silicon.
Yeah, absolutely. Why wouldn't you do it in silicon?
Because it's terrible to do it in silicon because it doesn't
Absolutely.
work. But we've made it work and it sounds absolutely fantastic.
Okay, so I'll just say, because there's lots of Mark II tone benders out there, lots of 1.5s, and they're epic sounding things, but the Mark 1 is the one from like when I heard the Juju, and there's a couple of pedals out there. If you who else does a really nice one? Five Fingered Death Punch, or there's some.
That's a metal band.
Yeah, but there's a. It'll come to me in a minute.
Creepy fingers?
Creepy Fingers. Thank you
Yeah.
very much. There's a handful of guys that do a Mark 1. It's really hard to make a Mark 1 sound good.
So you have to tune a Germanium Mark 1, you have to
Yeah.
tune every single one.
Yeah, right.
So it's not an act of, it's not a thing you want to do as a mass producer.
Okay,
Sure.
okay.
Because
but with the silicon, is they're more consistent and you can...
Well, the transistors are more consistent anyway, but
Yep.
the methodology that we've incorporated to do that Mark 1 thing, which is the sag and bloom, and
because it's such a great sound.
Yeah,
it's
so
such a great sound.
it
Dude, that's awesome.
And then that's tied in with a trem, but it's not like a classic trem, and it's not. But it's so one of the first pedals Dan Coggins designed when he was very, very young was this trem.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
and he just went,
man.
"Oh, this will work." So we got into that, and then and the great thing about it is it's one pedal with two circuits, but it's designed as if it's one pedal, so they work seamlessly together, and they work
That's
very,
awesome.
very well.
Now, the tremolos after the fuzz.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, great.
For more psychedelic.
Yeah.
It works great before, but it sounds better after.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
So we fixed it. We toyed with putting a switch on there, but to a man, a woman, it sounds better where it is.
It's interesting before because what you get is a change in gain.
Yeah.
Like distortion as opposed to overall amplitude.
Yeah.
And it can be cool, but actually when you have it after and it's a trem, it's why bias trems I think sound amazing.
Yeah.
Because they're right at the end at the end of everything. So, reverb in the amp, everything, and everything goes up and down, so that's awesome, dude.
Yeah, so we did it for Lee and Anderson's, and they sold out in 12 hours. So there's 200, which was like phenomenal.
Wow.
And
Did that beat the camouflage?
I think it has. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
Chill, Dan,
But
chill.
as time has moved on, and there was a massive thing, and 200 in 12 hours is bonkers. But anyway, I spoke to Lee, and he's like, "Oh yeah, you're gonna have to do it again." I was like, "Well, we don't want to steal away from what was special about the Andertons, that point in time." So the change topographical map. That's Thorpy HQ rather than Guildford.
Oh, cool.
So
that's really cool.
Right. The colours obviously changed, the inks changed, and on the above 60 are the coordinates, lat long, and that's Thorpy HQ as well. So it's just those little touches have made it its own new thing.
That's cool,
mate,
man.
that's wild.
So it's available globally now. So that's kind of cool.
Epic.
Who does the artwork for you and the graphics?
That'd be me,
Dude.
I actually won't take credit for the top part because that was Lee's friend who did the top part.
The map.
The 6 0.
The 6-0.
I did the map on this
Okay,
one.
Do you do all of your?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
mate. Yeah. Wow.
I love your artwork.
Yeah. Agreed.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, it's.
I fell into it.
You've actually created a vibe with the artwork of your pedals.
Yeah, definitely.
Because I remember having this conversation with you when you were just starting out.
Yeah.
Right. About, you said, "Oh, you've got this design for the actual box of them," and the way that you've done the artwork, it works with the look and the vibe of the pedal, and that's a really hard thing to do. There's a handful of guys that do it really well. I think Josh at JHS does it really well.
Yeah.
His artwork, and he loves that. But I think you've created a feel to your pedals, largely due to the way it's, the artwork and the way it's presented in the box and everything. And you just look at the thing and that you can drive a tank over them.
Yeah.
Which I think you've done. Is that right?
Well, we blew them up.
You blew them up.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
It's quite funny. It's you could this could survive this, and I was like, I know they can't because you can blow tanks up and they're 70 tons. So we actually, to be honest, it was just an excuse to have a great day of just smashing shit up. Sorry, smashing stuff up.
It's okay. It's okay.
So yeah, went down a quarry, nearly killed Chris. Chris Buck.
Chris Buck. Oh, brilliant.
So it was like,
collateral
Chris,
damage.
just stand a bit closer to the explosive. He was like, absolutely not. I haven't told my wife I'm here.
It'll be fine. Probably.
No, he would have been fine, but he felt the heat on his back. It was that close. So
Yeah, I remember seeing that video. That's awesome.
we've got one that we want to do, which is it's underwater.
Right.
So I'll have to get Hello Sailor Effects down. We come and do it. Bring
Have
one
you,
of his.
do you know
pedals.
Joe?
Yeah, I know Joe.
Oh
yeah.
man, he's such a sound guy. Yeah.
He tends to float on top of the water. He doesn't. I'm not sure you want to go under it, but it'd be kind of cool to do that. We're thinking of doing some underwater explosions just for the lols, really.
Well, he made a treble booster for me, so I'm sure that some of the vessels in the Navy are now not operational because he's pulled out all the important components.
Don't say that. They take that serious. They'll drag him back into court-martial him.
Well, where he gets some of these old components from, I mean, it's amazing. But I took the back off this treble booster he made, and he says, made this while tailing 2 Russian subs,
Yeah,
and so
wicked.
out at sea for long periods of time, and he got into pedals to help. He's interested in it to start. Plays guitar and he loves music, and he got into it as a way of, interested in it, but also a way to kill the time at sea isn't right, but
Distract.
to keep his mind on something else. And so is that similar with how you got into it? Same. Okay.
But not at sea.
Not at sea.
As a landlubber.
Right, okay.
I've got a very active mind, and I mean, it's a problem. If I'm not busy, I've got a problem. So and this has always been the case, and you just kind of use it as a superpower if you can, if you're able to. So,
Daddy.
So I find myself just like not anxious. That's not the right word, but I need to be busy, right?
Sure.
So back in the time I started doing it, I was doing a full day in my first job as a platoon commander. I'd get back and we'd have a mess dinner. We'd go and have a pint, or we'd go to the gym, or whatever. But I don't go to bed till like 12, 1 o'clock at night. It's a bit earlier now because I'm a lot older. But and I was like, I've got loads of hours to kill. What am I going to do? And your choices are drink more,
Okay,
or train more. And I'm like, well, no, those two aren't going to work. So just started getting into it, and it de-stressed from the day because it's a stressful job.
Yep.
And and the problem I have again is I go deep dive on this stuff, so I got properly obsessed with it. And the rest is history, really. You just sort of start making them, and they're like bacteria at that point. If you're that obsessed, I've made hundreds of pedals. What is going on? So then you have to clear them out. Go again.
Right.
well, I first met you. Actually, before I get into that, you're knighted by the Queen. You were
No, I'm not knighted. That's another. There's levels and levels. I'm very honoured to have. I received an award in 2013, so I got an MBE from the Queen.
Does that make you sir?
No, it
makes you cool.
I don't know about that. I've never been cool, but I put post nominals after my name. Cool. So it's Adrian Thorpe MBE. You see it when you see the athletes and that, and they do well at the
okay.
So you've got those that got like gold medal get MBE, those that are getting 5 gold medals get an OBE, and then those that have changed the sport and brought funding, they're getting knighthoods and stuff like that. So there's levels and levels, but I was absolutely shocked by it. It's a funny story, but they were supposed to tell me 2 weeks before it got announced, and I just never got told.
Oh, no.
So the day it got announced, I'm reading through looking for my mates, because the job I was doing at the time, I was an ammunition technical officer, so bomb disposal, explosives, and so a lot of my friends have been deployed, and so I'm looking for my friends because some of them got gallantry awards, and then I see my own name on this list, and my name's not common. It just isn't common. Adrian Thorpe, not common. Linked to my rank as well, so I know there's only one of me at that time with that name. And I'm like, woke my partner up at the time, Georgia. I was like,
some guy stole my identity and he's getting an award.
Sorry,
so this
I've got
is
to go
past
to
midnight.
the Queen.
I rang my dad up. I'm like, Dad, this has happened. Oh my God. And then the next day, I go into work like nothing's happened, because I'm like, it's fine. I'm cool.
Told you, cool.
And then it was like Harry Potter with the owls, all the letters, because what they don't tell you is, and I would have been warned of all of this, I received a letter from every member of the royal household.
Wow.
And senior members of the armed forces all congratulating me. Wow. And so I go to my post box, it's jammed full with like royal wax seals and stuff like that. So I've got all those letters, and that was, from my memory, that's the coolest thing. And then Can you imagine if you hadn't seen that the night before and you just looked at your mailbox like, what have I done? I would have thought it was a wind up,
right? Yeah.
And then the brigadier of the college came in and gave him a congratulations, and everyone else on the course is like, what the hell's happened? Because like it was him, and then it was the colonels, and then it was like loads of people like take it seriously.
It's a big deal, dude.
Yeah,
I was over the moon, and to this day it's still core memory stuff. It's like I was honoured to have received it, and
that's so cool, man.
That's amazing, mate. Well, you'll always be sir to me. And not to skim over this, but your time in the army, and we've talked about this before, and you were in the army for quite a long time. You were a major.
Yeah, I left as a major, so I joined when I was 16.
Wow.
So joined as an officer cadet, and then went to college, uni, Sandhurst, and then went through the ranks, through the officer ranks, and by the time I was ready to leave, I was just like, new pastures. I need to do something different now.
And what I love is that you have in the days when we first met. So I met you when you were building clones of things. I think it was it Mitch that introduced us?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. And I've got one of the pedals. This isn't the first pedal that you made for me, but this is now. Thorpy didn't label this. This was labelled from a video that I made with Nick. We did the shoegaze episode, and this pedal was in that, and it was just it was just taking the mick. But anyway,
I've always wondered why it was called that.
This is a fuzz face one, but the first pedal that you made for me was a Llama Ding Dong. What's it? The
Red
Red Llama. And over the years, I also had an old OCD clone that you built for me as well, and they're all amazing. And then, with the TheGigRig, and then you remember you coming over one night and we had a chat, and you said, I'm thinking about going for it.
Yeah.
And it's like, because I knew, because I loved, you're a guitar player, right? And you'd obviously done this for a long time, but there was a question of, because there are so many pedal companies out there, and so many pedal companies are looking for gimmicks, right? But the idea that your pedals, which were a part of your, being in the military, and they actually had an active role in helping you de-stress and that stuff for a long time, for years.
Yeah, a long time.
And I love that, and there's a military theme with your pedals, and like I remember seeing you at a trade show, and it's like there's nothing. When people meet you, it's like, okay, there is nothing gimmicky about it. It's real,
genuine and sincere.
I'm really pleased that you've shared that part of your life with us, and.
See,
and obviously,
there's an irony here, because I actually wasn't going to do that.
Yeah.
You convinced me to do
I remember because
I was doing a bit of a fruity job, and I really at the time was like, because of what I was doing, I didn't necessarily want to highlight that I was in the forces. And you were like, no, you've got to. I was like, you need to find a way. I was like, okay. And actually I did find a way. I ended up with special PO boxes and stuff. To allow it to happen. But I'm glad I took the advice, because it actually made the transition to when I left the army, just to go, well, actually I haven't got to go, oh, by the way, guys, this is me.
Yeah.
I didn't have to do that. It was just a case of, no, it's still me.
Yeah.
So I'm glad I took the advice.
Yeah. Well, it was, you didn't have to sort of reinvent yourself or come up with this new, hey, now I'm Thorpy from ThorpyFX. It's like, this is still me doing my thing, but we're doing it serious now. Because you'd been building, you'd built clones and pedals for other people, and it just felt like a continuation of that, but done to a level that was, for anyone that owns a Thorpy pedal, I mean, the quality is next level.
Yeah.
But it's what you would demand of any pedal manufacturer. Well, of anything that you were doing, you would always demand it of yourself, right?
I mean, that's what the thing is. I buy a lot of pedals. I still buy a lot of pedals.
Yep.
But I only buy things that tickle my fancy. That they have to meet a certain criteria, and that's in my head more than anything else. Lots of people have different standards, but I'll only buy it if I know it's built. I mean, the obscene thing about this is I'll buy them and open them up to look at them before I've even plugged them in. Which I've tried to stop doing.
You're saying that's not normal?
Yeah, maybe. But so knowing that that's how I buy, I just assume everyone else is the same.
Yeah.
And so I was like, well, how can I go past that? Because that was important to me.
Sure.
So and some of what I'd learned in military testing of munitions and such, like they go through the mill. I was like, I can actually apply a lot of this to what I'm doing, because there's certain things I knew what known failure points were for certain things. Yeah. I go, well, that will fail the same way if it goes on a plane here or whether it goes on a military plane. It doesn't matter. Sure. I know it will fail it eventually. So
it's going to be on stage and people are going to be kicking it.
Yeah, exactly. And I weigh quite a lot. I weigh more now than when I was serving, but I was still 115 kilos, and at the time I'm a lot more now. And so I was like, well, if it can survive me, it can probably survive most people. So,
so cool. Okay, so let's have just a quick check in with any questions, Lizzie.
I mean, the comments are basically just full of a lot of love.
Oh, that's awesome.
So many comments about loving the graphics, loving the pedals, loving it all. Someone actually bought one because their dad was a deep diver in World War II.
Their dad's an absolute legend, because that is the most dangerous job.
Yeah. That was...
in all of the military.
Really?
Yeah.
We've just had one in from Simon, who has said, question to Mr. Thorpy, are there any collabs or pedals coming in the future you can hint or talk about? Obviously, you've done Andertons and Chris Buck recently. Anything else in the pipeline?
Next 5 years, please, if you will.
The thing is, I always like to keep my powder dry, and I don't want to not answer this, but the short answer is loads, and hopefully one this year. I did that's cool as hell. Actually, maybe 2 this year that's cool as hell. You're gonna like it. It's cool. There's some good collabs. I get to work with some amazing people.
That's so great.
Perfect, thank you. And we did have one from Squarewave Symphonies about the first pedal that we were looking at. And that was the most important question. Does it work well with bass?
Probably not, in all honesty. And you're going to have to try it. Go to a shop to try it, because I couldn't honestly say whether it would or not. I think the low register on it's just a little bit too low in the output.
Right.
Maybe a passive bass, 4-string. But
are there any other kinds?
Well, I don't know. Yeah, if you went active, definitely not an active bass.
Right.
And if you go past 4 strings, I think the low register is going to be too much.
We'll get Joe to try this, and we'll put a clip up or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to know, because it wasn't designed for bass, but. Sorry, bass players. I think.
It's not only have you eaten, Joe, you've now completely cut that as well. I respect that.
That's how it is.
That's awesome.
That's all we've got at the moment.
Okay.
So if anyone does have any more questions, pop them in and we'll come back.
Fabulous. Okay. So yeah, I'll just round that circle off by saying thank you for your service.
That's very kind.
It's it's been, I just remember just some of the conversations that we've had. It's like, after knowing you for such a long time, and it's like, man, it's takes a special person to do what you've done. So yeah, thank you, mate. It's amazing.
And like in this 10 years to go from starting something to being like a staple of every board, like you're it's more common than not to see one of your pedals on a board. If we've got board builds in,
Yeah.
there's always something by you, and I think that's incredible. In 10 years to sort of go from not to
From a start-
that
from
sort of
standing
legacy is
still.
incredible, dude.
Well, if you don't mind me saying it, here's the thing. You should surround yourself with people who are more intelligent than you. We do that. The team are amazing. And also, I could not do it without my wife. Like, she's 50% of the company and just a bit of a boss lady. So, you know, if you want to, if I was doing a tribute success to anything, a lot of luck. Actually having an amazing team, because the reality is they prop what I'm trying to do up and make it happen.
Yeah.
You know, me going, hey, I've got this crazy idea. Well, they make it happen a lot of the time. So, you know, that's for everyone who works for us. Thank you very much.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I remember you coming in at our old office with the gunshot, the first gunshot.
Yeah, the prototype.
The prototype. And we had the old Marshall JT45, which was one of Mitch's old Marshalls. And it was just epic. It was the bias pot on it. Something I'd seen before in Love Pedal Effects. They had a thing called the Church of Tone that had a similar thing that would, you know, then the pop was called Crackle OK, but I hadn't seen it applied in the way that you'd done it with the gunshot. And just as an overdrive pedal, I was thinking about your pedals. Like, I think the gunshot, the muff, and the what's the one that Mick has on all of his boards? The Warthog. They cover such a massive ground.
Yeah.
Like, most of the pedals I've got, there's a small area that they're really great at, and that's where I want them to perform. But your stuff seems to sound great in, like, a huge range, almost to the point was like the Warthog, Mick uses it as an overdrive, as a fuzz, as a distortion. It's like it does
do
everything.
About 6 of them on the
yeah,
board and
exactly.
set differently.
I mean, that's a conscious design choice, I think, because it's not that, like, we know making stuff by hand in the UK is more expensive, right? That, you know, we could do the thing and go to China and source all that, and and there's nothing wrong with that as a business model either. But we want to make it by hand and do it ourselves. So what we want to do for what looks like a simple product, on the face of it, we want to bake in as much scope as possible.
Right.
Yeah, right.
It's why with that, the Peacekeeper, the Fallout, all of those, I want people to feel like, hey, I've bought the race car version of a pedal, you know. And actually it goes off road as well. So I just want that baked into them, so that on the face of it, it might look like a simple thing, but you know, people who are poles apart in the tone spectrum can actually use the same pedal.
Yeah.
And that was a conscious decision, and it still
awesome,
is.
man.
Yeah. No, it's very cool. And then, so on that pedal show, the Thorpy, which was the Mushroom Cloud.
I miss that name.
I
It was
know.
so cool.
Yeah, it was unreal.
But it was, but that was the first sort of, what do we call it? The
TPS special.
TPS special pedal that we ever did.
Yeah.
Oh, of
It
course.
was the
Yeah, I
first
forgot
one.
that you did that. Yeah.
And we did, I think, was it 30?
So it's either 30 or 50. I can't remember.
No, that wasn't 50. It was 30 because I was thinking about doing 50. I was like, because we didn't have any money. I was like, we were just getting a following. And I thought, because I'm a big Muff fan. And Thorpy brings this one over. And it's like, it was the first time I'd ever seen a Big Muff with a bass and treble control.
Yeah.
Right? Lost my mind. Because I could plug it into a 4x12 and get rid of the, right? But then I could plug it into my AC15 and dial in loads of bottom end.
Get it, yeah.
Right? So it was killer.
Yeah.
And I just loved it. And then I was saying to Mick, we could do a limited release of you know, the TPS version of this. And I thought, let's do, you know, it was like 50 was just pie in the sky. It was ridiculous. I thought, let's do 30. And they sold out in like a minute.
Yeah, it was really.
It was. we thought, well, if we sell them in a month, that'll be great. And it was like a minute.
Yeah, I remember.
And then you were going, I bet you wish you ordered the 50 now.
Yeah, well, thing is, hindsight's wonderful. Sometimes, you know.
For sure.
I love that. I've still got my TPS version.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So seeing you go from strength to strength, I mean, it's been so great. I want to ask you about your favorite pedals,
Yeah. Okay.
right? And things that inspire you.
Okay. Yeah. Right. So, as a pedal nut,
Yeah.
I'm a bit greedy with pedals. I'll put that out there and just say, well,
Dude, you're amongst
actually,
friends, honestly.
I have far too many. The worst part about owning a pedal company is that actually the pedals you buy.
You can write off his tax.
Well, yeah, well, there is that. But also, your wife has to know about them. So there's no sneak. Well, we don't have any secrets anyway. But there's no sneaking anywhere. It's I bought this. Why? I don't know. If I'm honest,
I watched 2 YouTube videos. I stayed up too late.
It looked nice, but I brought 3 with me, and this list could have been a lot longer. So we'll start with one. Actually, I think you're to blame for 2 of these. Actually,
Okay.
So the first one
Sounds about right.
is this, which is the Kingsley Jester. Now, I had the Mark 1 version of this because you used to write a column for
Guitar
Buyer.
Yeah.
And
Porn
it's back when
stars.
you had hair. And I remember that column because it was like the perfect amount of deep dive and simplistic explaining for most people. And
that's the very, very limit of my ability.
it was awesome. It was like, yeah, this is a great column. And so anyway, Kingsley Jester, it was on your radar. I had the Mark 1, and the Mark 1 had a... Hang on.
It's like this.
See if we have
you
one
can't see
there.
it, but it had the valves exposed, and you had this lid to protect the valves. And I loved the pedal. The reason that this is so cool is everyone goes on about the clon all the time.
Yeah.
I sold 2 original clons back when they were worth not a great deal in comparison to now for Kingsley Jester. And why? Because back to back, it was
no contest.
It was a better pedal. The Kingsley Jester is. And so, anyway, fast forward, Mark 2 came out. I was like, it's better in every way because it's smaller, but it sounds the same.
It takes 9 volts.
Yeah, and I think mine doesn't actually. I think I've got the 12 volt one.
Okay. Yeah.
So because I got one of the first Mark 2s, and anyway, the reason I love it is the sound's great, right? So I just take that as a given. But the build quality is amazing. They're just astonishing that they are priced the way they are. Because I think you probably charge twice as much for what you get.
Absolutely. So Simon is one of my favorite guitar players. Right?
He's a phenomenal guitar.
He is devastating, and like every time he comes over, he loves to come up when we're filming and hang out and stuff, and we grab him and throw him on camera and just go play because he's astonishing. And it's like yourself, I can tell when a guitar player has designed a pedal, and I can tell when someone's taken a circuit from the internet and plugs them in and goes, well, it works.
That'll do.
That'll do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get it.
I can turn on a Jester and go, that's Simon. Because he has this thing with his touch, which is, I mean, when he went to was it the GIT or Berkeley?
He's Berkeley.
Berkeley, that's right. Yeah. So, and he was there, a bunch of amazing other musicians, and Scott Henderson was there at the same time. They used to jam together.
Oh, right.
Him and Scott Henderson, right? But so he's that level.
Yeah.
Right? But he also has this really incredible technical mind that can go into this stuff. And so it's a really wonderful thing. I remember hearing it and hearing the way that the boost circuit, and I love the interplay between the two. Can't say enough great things about Simon. He's such a solid guy.
I can't argue. I mean, I've had a few. I've got the Page. I've got this, and like I say, the thing for me is it's you just go, well, the sound's amazing, that's great, but if you shouldn't open them up because there's high voltages in there.
Yes.
But I've done it, so I can.
But you're allowed.
I can share. Yeah,
Queen said you're allowed to open these up.
I'm just not lick inside. It's a bit weird.
Fairly good life advice, that really,
One hand in
isn't
your
it?
pocket,
Yeah.
tongue only. Anyway, it's the engineering of it that's the best thing.
Yeah.
Like you look at it and you know, actually, I could just take a picture of that and mount it on my wall.
Yeah.
I have done. I've taken a photo of it, and it's been a screensaver before. So yeah, massively impressive.
Awesome.
The guy's an absolute beast, and his products are incredible. So,
Amazing. Okay, so that was number 1.
yeah,
Oh,
there we go.
yeah, 12 volter. There you go, lovely.
So number 2 is
Is that a real one?
no, it's real, but it's not an old one.
Okay.
So this is a. I'll show you the back first, and then so it's a solar sound made by Dave Main at Differential Audio Manifestations, DAM, and this has got a bit of a place in my heart really because I've always wanted an old one.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
The thing is, buying old things is a bit of a crapshoot.
Dude, I've had so many old ones, and
Some are great, some are crap.
well, all of mine haven't been awesome. And I've had like the Marshall Super Fuzz, and had which was in a very similar enclosure, and an original tone bender, and they both were just like needed so much work that by doing the work would have devalued the pedal substantially.
So I've devalued a pedal that I have, which is a vintage one. I've got a Maestro one, and I run that at 3 volts because it sounds better than it running at 1.5.
The FZ1A.
Yeah. So it's just a better pedal when you run it that way. But absolute travesty from a collector's perspective, but I don't care because it sounds great. So this one is the resto mod of, if you're into cars, people buy old cars and then turn them into cool modern things. This is the resto mod of the pedal world because Dave is an incredible fuzz aficionado, and I don't use that word lightly. The pedal just sounds incredible. This is a Mark 1.5, so realistically it's a fuzz face.
Yeah.
I've got Mark II versions of his. I've got Stephen from Pig Dog. I've got versions of his pedals, Mark 1, Mark 1.5, Mark II, the lot. And those two people, for me, just make the best.
Yeah.
Because they
I
are
agree.
Michelin-starred chefs of this world.
Yeah, right.
And this one's, I bought it in London, wasn't expecting to be able to buy it. It was in their old shop before they moved, and I got it on my anniversary, wedding anniversary, Georgia.
Oh, dude.
Let me get it. So it's got a bit of a sentimental attachment to it as well.
Well, I remember being in, not Denmark Street, where they were.
It was just off Denmark Street.
Yeah, right on the corner, isn't it?
What are they called? Colour Sound. Macari's.
Macari's.
And because we filmed with them, I'd known him for a while, and we'd filmed with him, but he
That
has
thing you
this-
did with Josh Scott as well, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
remember.
But he did you ever go in there and he showed you in the back room?
I did not have that privilege.
Oh,
But,
okay.
he
So
wasn't
he
there
had
when I
all
was
of
there,
the
though.
okay, right. Well, he had all of the original versions,
Like
in
starting at the
boxes,
wooden one and
Yeah.
all the rest of it.
but he had the original 1.5, which was the inspiration for the fuzz face.
Right. Oh, right.
So
okay.
it predated the fuzz face.
Right. I didn't know it predated.
Yeah, yeah. It was like the 2
Wow,
transistor
okay.
version.
That's wild. I didn't know.
Yeah,
Finally
it's
know
crazy,
what came
man.
first, the chicken or the egg.
Yeah, there you go. Well, yeah. I mean, it's very close, but that came out and then someone used it and apparently Jimmy got a hold and,
Yeah.
Oh, no, not Jimmy. Dallas Arbiter.
Yeah. Okay.
You know.
So I'm not wanting to ruin sort of some of the law
Yeah,
on
yeah.
it. You'll find a lot of these circuits are actually in like the Mullard
yeah.
transistor book.
Yep.
So if you get a Mullard transistor book, and it was like a microphone preamp, I think. But they've got it in there, and so what people have done is, and these are things that Mullard recommended. They recommended
Yeah.
uses for their products.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, they're
right.
trying to sell. They're trying to sell
Yeah.
their transistors
That's right.
and valves.
Right.
So they had all these circuits in a book. And that,
Wow, I didn't know that at all.
like-
It still happens today. If you go onto like Texas Instruments and you're looking for an ADAC or whatever, they'll go,
Yeah.
here's a usage for our ADAC, here's a schematic for our ADAC, and they'll
Wow.
show you an example.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
And so
Oh, I'm
and you
Googling
get and
later.
you can buy development kits and stuff now that have the stuff that you can try
That's
things
really
out.
cool.
But it's like it was the electronic Meccano set of the day.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Right. Wow. Yeah, that's crazy. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
So
very
that-
cool. So I've got a big muff from David,
Oh wow. Okay.
and it's astonishing.
Is that the Dope Priest?
Dope Priest.
Yeah, that's wicked.
Yeah.
I've got the same one.
It's but David, Stephen.
Yeah.
It's like as no one does it better.
Another thing.
You know, they're just great. They're
they're
really
ting.
great. I think it's for the vintage. Absolute. The wire has to be correct. The pots have to be correct. The jacks. You know, it's like, and I don't know where they find this stuff.
I've got no idea, but he uses in there. It's like it's a grey wire with a centre single conductor.
Right.
And the insulation, so the surrounding shield is used as the earth and stuff like that. When you look at the old ones, that's how it was.
Yeah, yeah.
love that.
But these are solidly built. You get, like I say, the problem again with old stuff is it falls apart a little bit, and you know, and like I say, it's crapshoot.
And you need to remember the old stuff wasn't built by people who were really into it.
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
their day
Friday
job.
afternoon
Friday
specials.
Slapped
afternoon,
together, yeah.
And there's also that thing. It's like, and this was real. When a batch of fuzz faces would come out, the employees would go through, and out of the 10, they'd find the good 1 or 2, if you're lucky, keep them for themselves, and then put the rest out for sale.
All right. Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
And it was a pretty well known thing. It's like, these are amazing if you find a good one.
Yeah.
And that's been true since they first came out, because the nature of the germanium transistors.
I mean, the hilarious thing about it, and this makes sense when you think about it, they were there to make profit as a company. They weren't there to change the world necessarily. So everyone now holds NKT, New Market NKT 275s, as this absolute top transistor that could ever exist. Back in the day, it was a piece of crap, and it was the cheapest thing you could buy.
Yeah.
And you know, and that hasn't changed.
Yeah.
That's still true.
Yeah.
But now you try and get them, you're paying £80. You know, I've got a set, and I think they're £80 each. And you're just like, I don't know what to build in this. I'm obviously going to build a fuzz face with it. But just it's quite amazing how one's perception can shift based on
Totally.
Yeah.
you know what they were used for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing. Okay, so that
You had a
was
time
2.
machine.
Oh, look at that one.
It's got a nice heft to it.
Oh,
as
that
well.
does too. That's lovely. Check that out, Daddy. Eh?
Yeah, that is.
Isn't that nice?
That's weighty.
Okay, we have a box.
So this one's a bit weird.
Okay,
So
this isn't as
this is an Echo Drive by SIB, and he's not done. I don't think he does them anymore. But I saw online. Excuse me, sorry, I'm making rustling noises.
no, it's all good.
Forgive me. Right.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah.
So basically, I'll put this down here because it weighs quite a lot actually. It's got a valve in it. Mm-hmm. It's a delay pedal. Mm-hmm. It's dusty because it's been on the board. And Noel Gallagher had one.
Yeah.
And
So Noel Gallagher, I think, has my old one.
right, so there you go. So you inadvertently inspiring me to get this. So I'd seen it for years, and I know Noel Gallagher had one, and I was like, oh, they've all gone. Anyway, he put online, he was like, I found some chips. So the Matsushita MN3005s, but the Matsushita ones, not the reissue ones. And the reissue ones sound great. I just like the history of it all. And so I messaged him. I was like, well, could I buy one? And he was like, yeah, I'll make you one. All right. I said, I'm a big fan. And he goes, well, what colour do you want it? I said, I thought they were blue. And he goes, well, because you're having one special, I'll make it a special colour for you. I was like, all right, deal. Amazing. Thanks ever so much. Because I was expecting it to either be blue for the valve one or red for the solid state
one. Yeah.
And he goes, what do you want? I went, purple sparkle? And he was like, yeah. So I've got this one of one Valve purple. I think it's 101 anyway, but I've got a Valve purple Sparkle Sib Echo Drive, which is a great delay pedal. And again, I think I love it not only for the sound, but just the hilarity of it. The total fluke that I just happened to be looking at them and it popped up as available, which is odd because they'd been out of production at the time,
right,
for ages. I love that it's stupid in that I have to plug a kettle lead into it. There's loads of reasons why this is a terrible choice, but also that just makes it cool.
Yeah, it's very cool. So Noel doesn't use the delay in it. He just uses the preamp. He loves the sound of the preamp in it.
Ah, okay. That makes sense.
Yeah, which is really killer. Right. You know, you give it some love and it's just amazing. So I had one of these and it was really cool. I just found it's very warm.
Yeah, it's dark repeats.
Dark repeats.
Yeah.
And I'm Telly, Fox AC30, Mr. Bright. Yeah. You know,
Mr.
I want to hear everything.
Yeah.
And I found it a bit dark, but there's a level of coolness because of course it was poor Stacey that turned me onto these. And
again, that makes sense.
It makes sense, right? Yeah. But yeah, really, really wonderful sounding thing. And the red ones sound great, but there's a vibe that the originals had. Just, you know, they're valve driven, they're just super cool. But having it on a pedal board with its, you know, own mains supply and everything is a bit of an ask.
The thing is, I'll grab it. I think it's about 1.5 kilos. It's about that. The thing's nuts. But you know,
has a thing.
I've chosen massive pedals to bring along with me today. I don't know why, but I was either going to bring this or the Deluxe Memory Man.
Yeah, sure.
Which is also incredible because the one I have has been tuned. It's just absolutely perfect.
Oh wow! Okay, tuned by
Dan Coggins.
Okay,
because I bought a couple.
We have a picture of a Deluxe Memory Man, Lizzie, if you want to throw that on.
It's just bob on. It's hard to explain because again, you can tune it, but on a scope, you can. You know, I've got no problem with that. But it just sounds. There's something about it. He's also done Electric Mistresses of mine that I've got. Just so I said, you know, what's the secret sauce and watch him go at it. It's sort of like I say, surround yourself with people who know things that you don't, and you just get it. It's just something about the way he does it, and the the Deluxe Memory Man is just incredible. But arguably this is even rarer, so I just thought I'd bring this.
There's no doubt. These are much rarer. If you can find an original one of these, I mean, they go for a fortune now. I remember getting mine, and I mean, I paid, I don't know, £500 or something for it, and I wasn't really using it. And it was like the year later, someone offered me £850 for it, and I went, yeah. And I mean, now it's crazy money, but I mean, I don't even want to know what you know.
No, I paid retail for it.
You paid retail for it?
Yeah, so it wasn't. I think it was about £700.
Right. Okay.
Something like that.
Right.
But
when was this?
It must have been about 5-6 years ago.
Okay. Right. Wow.
So relatively recently.
Yeah.
Like it's a bit of a weird one, but I've done that with a few pedals. Like I've got a Moog MF 104M.
Right.
Super delay.
Yeah.
And they go for silly money, and I think for the same reason you're not a massive fan of it because the repeats are quite dark on that, but it's got a full 1 second delay time because it's got a rack of MN chips in it.
Right.
And I love that pedal because more for the fact that who needs a 1 second analog delay because it's just absolutely ridiculous, but also engineered really well. Bob Luke heritage, the works.
We've got a question about with that pedal in it.
Yeah.
If I can just say from Gav Thorpe, knowing we share a love for the Moog MF 104M, any plans for a delay?
Yeah. Well, look, the long and short of it is absolutely yes, because but not just yes. We have 2 in the works.
Cool, man.
Ooh.
But I'll say no more than that. I've said too much, really.
Sorry.
They're all really cool. I think what people, and I always want to comment, because when I do a new pedal, I was like, is it a delay? And I want to say, I'm still working on it. But the thing is, to do it right, to do it so that it stands out above the mix, I don't mean sound mix, I mean from other competition and really cool pedals, you've got to do something that's different. So the level of investment that we've had to make to do that is, for a company our size, disproportionate, and also means that time, you either do it fast and do it cheap, or you do it over time and put proper investment in, and that's what we've done. So unfortunately, we're stuck with a bit of boring business related stuff that kind of has slowed us down, has delayed the delay.
Very good. Very good.
They're on the way.
That's awesome, man.
Excellent. They are now
Soon.
saying, I'm starting the talks with my wallet right now.
Well, see, that's the sort of encouragement that I need, really. Thank you for the question.
Sorry, just while I
No, it's
heard
cool.
that one.
So the interesting thing about the Memory Man, and I'm a big Memory Man fan, and I have my one at TPS Studios, which was sort of lent out to Neil Finn,
Right.
and it's all been.
Is the one with graffiti on it?
Yeah, so that's Neil graffiti.
Right,
That's
wicked.
so Neil and the family all graffitied
wow.
it for me, and it's one of my most prized possessions. I'm a massive Neil Finn fan. But we had a question the other day. It's like, what delay pedal sounds like a Memory Man? Honestly, nothing else sounds like a Memory Man.
Nothing yet.
Nothing yet, but there's a quality, and I think it's got to do with for an analog repeat, it's bright and clear.
Yeah.
The experience that they've had with, so like for example, the Mistress, it's very bright and clear, but what they do is they pump so much top end in at the start of the signal, and then they do everything, and then they reduce it down at the end, and it brings all the noise floor down, but sort of it gets to a...
We do similar. We take that lesson actually in the camouflage. So we do a pre-emphasis and de-emphasis, and tune things that way. Yeah. Because it's how you maintain clarity.
There you go. And they do such a good job of that. I mean, there was people saying that he was Mike Matthews was so tired he didn't want to put any filter caps in, but I don't believe that.
It won't be here, will it? Because I forget. Forgive me, I forget the name of the designer. The guy who designed all their stuff.
Howard
Howard Davies. Yeah, that designer at that time was an absolute animal. You know, the stuff he designed.
Well, he designed the
game changing.
Yeah, so he did that. He also did the Mistress Deluxe, like the big version.
Yeah.
Right.
Which and yeah, I was actually emailing him last year because I'd just love to have a chat with him.
Yeah, it's almost like an historical record.
Yeah, completely. Because that man sat in a room with a soldering iron, changed the world.
Yeah.
You know, some of those sounds that we hear now, it's like wouldn't be the same without what he was messing around with.
Can you imagine the police without that flange?
Absolutely. So, and I think it's like for fans of that stuff, it's sort of really important. But those design principles that he used, you know, just created this amazing stuff. But what I find really interesting is we know about this stuff now, right? But all the delay pedals that I've tried, and you know, a big fan of delay in every form. But whenever I stick that old Memory Man on the board, there is something to it that I haven't heard in another pedal.
You can see
whether it's the shape of the modulation.
It's not even the Compander doing. I mean, the Compander does breathe, and it's not that, is it?
No, there's something to it. Because, you know, someone asked me the other day, does the Analog Man AR-DX20 sound like the Memory Man? I'm like, no, it doesn't. It's an amazing sounding delay, but it doesn't sound like the Memory Man. You know, so it is very much its own thing, you know. But as you know, it only takes a little nudge here and there, and then it's
To miss it.
Well, not to miss it, but it becomes something else.
Yeah.
You know.
You almost want to, but you can't. You want to hot glue the trimmers all in place, but the thing drifts of itself.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the one thing I will say, and I know there are people who are massive Electro-Harmonix fans, and I understand why, because again, the industry has been changed by Electro-Harmonix. At that time, it feels like the engineers did a really good job at designing an amazing circuit, and then they thought, right, how can we mess this up? We need to make it out of the most flexible metal that corrodes as fast as possible.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely, I'm in.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like. Could we make this a little bit better? No.
Yeah.
Let's have it 1 mil at best.
Yeah.
It's the same group chat. With,
Dip it in the sea.
The Deep Impact as well with the cardboard PCB. I like to think they're all having a chat and they're like, things are going too well.
Yeah.
How can we just make it a more terrible time for ourselves?
Yeah. Let's print the tracks with
that'll
carbon
be fine.
on cardboard.
Perfect.
So that when it absorbs the moisture, everything cracks and you can't repair it. Winner, chicken
there we
dinner.
go.
So
It's a good day lads, let's go in.
But when you look at the Mistress, right? It's like it's like draw a track, take a shot.
Yes.
You know,
It is funny.
it's
you're not wrong.
hilarious.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Okay, I'm just going to be that person. There's 4 minutes left.
Okay.
And there's a couple of questions.
Yes.
I'm not going to do any more that put you on the spot. Sorry
I
about
don't
those.
mind.
So from Neil, we've got, what is the biggest challenge being a boutique pedal maker?
Oh, I could tell you knowing when to freeze a design is probably the one that's is tricky, because you go through it, it becomes your baby. You're like, I could just add this. I could gild that lily 1,000,000 times over. I'd say knowing when to stop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great.
And from Hello Sailor FX, we've got, how difficult was it to dial in the Scarlet Tunic? The high end in that thing is to die for. I purchased mine in Oslo after trying it at what felt like 1,000,000 overdrives.
So that, I would say, was hard to do. We had about 4 or 5 proper iterations. Lee Harris was massively on board with it, sort of helping us get it right for him.
So Lee Harris is the guitar player from A Saucer Full of Secrets,
Nick
which is
Mason.
Nick Mason's band from Floyd.
Yeah.
And we did his rig, and
he's like he's the guy that sort of set that up as well. He he emailed Nick Mason and was do you fancy doing this?
And Nick came back and goes, yeah, great, let's do it.
And I feel sorry for him a lot of time. You read an interview and people are going about like Guy Pratt and
Hey, he's touring the world and having an amazing time.
but I'm like, but Lee's, I say to Lee, I'm like, mate, one day retire and write a book, it'll be incredible. But it was Lee's brainchild to do
It's
it.
incredible.
So dialing it in, was it hard? It was, because we're pedalising what was a bit of an amp from the 60s.
Yeah.
And we needed to make it be 1-to-1 to suit Lee's needs. So it was hard to do, but when you're in the room and you've got the amp on one side and you've got the pedal and an amp on the other, you're literally just sort of trying to make them sound the same and measuring them and all the rest of it.
How do you do that though? You've got the amp there, you've got the pedal there, but what's your reference with the pedal?
So it's genuinely ears. It's me and Dan Coggins.
But into what, you're going out of the pedal into what?
So we choose the flattest amp going. So at the time it was the high watt. With 100 watt high watt. And why did we choose a high watt? Well, because we knew Lee was touring with a version of that circuit. So, but then you just add enough scope in to cope with other amps as well.
Yeah, sure.
Right.
Great. Look,
last one.
Yep.
From Eagle Ray Rob, Mr. Thorpe, if you could have any amp, old or new, what would it be, and what makes that amp special to you?
Any amp, old or new?
You've got them all.
I've got them.
Seriously, your amp game is strong.
I just buy character amps that I like that only do that one thing. So, that's a tricky question. Do you know what? Truthfully, and not because they're worth loads of money, it's more to do with the fact that I've tried clones of. I'd love to have a Dumble because I haven't got anything like it.
Yeah, right.
As in, I would just, again, because it's a bit of a heritage thing, and the guy's passed away. Either that or an original train wreck.
Yeah.
because those two engineers really sort of piqued my interest.
Yeah.
So that's a bit of a cop out. But if it wasn't for those, an original Mesa Boogie, not the Mark 1, it'd be the Mark 2. They've just reissued. I've got a Mark 3.
Yeah.
Which is almost the same, but dual rectifier, original rectifier, the one that was used in all the heavy metal albums of when it was out, and new metal. Because I like the music, so it's cool to have the thing, right?
For sure.
Well, look, we are nearly out of time. Did I get away with that burp? I don't know if I did.
I did this last week.
They know.
So, one last quick thing. We've got a lot of really great pedal builders that watch this show, and to see what's new. And what do you see challenges for our industry coming up in the future?
Okay, yeah, that's a heavy question. Well, aside from...
You're taking notes, Lizzie.
End on a light note, I guess.
Yeah, no, look, aside from regulations, red tape and all that, because that's just a constant challenge. I think we are, and everyone says it, and excuse the pun, we're oversaturated, but we're oversaturated with Me Too products. So we're oversaturated with things where people have gone, I think I could be a pedal maker, and I'm just going to do the same thing that 200 other people have done. The difficulty is stepping aside, because that creates like a noise where if you want to step above it and do something original or new or whatever, it makes it infinitely harder because you're competing for people's time.
Sure.
And 200 versions of the same thing, they'll find it harder to find you. So I think that, I don't mean that as a negative, but what I mean is if you're going to do something, do it to the best of your ability and focus on improving everything in what you're doing. 1%, like the David Brailsford thing.
Yeah.
If you do that, a bit of luck, a little bit of spin, you'll be able to just pop your head up and someone will notice you. I'm certain of it. And just play to your strengths, because I think people try and pretend they're someone they're not. Just play to your strengths, because if you do, you'll be honest, authentic, and again, you'll pop up. It's a bit try. I'm not sort of one of those podcast hero type people, but I think that's the biggest challenge. Stepping above the noise to be seen.
Course, yeah.
Once you're seen, hey, if you've got it down, you're going to make it. And again, surround yourself with people who are smarter than you. You'll be all right.
Amazing. Dude, this has been awesome. Thank you so much for doing this.
Having me.
It's great. Thank you all for watching and hanging out. Thank you, Lizzie.
A quick bulletin note.
Yes.
A couple of questions that were more about technical things. If you can just email us on support@thegigrig.com and we'll be happy to help. And also, Dan, you're not here next week.
Neither am I.
And neither is Jake.
Oh, okay. So no one's here
there will be no show
You
next
can
week.
do the show by yourself,
You
Lizzie.
and Joe.
Right.
I would hate to see. It's a good man to see that.
That would be so stressful.
No, I'm at NAM next week. I'll be walking around NAM. Are you going?
I'm not, sadly,
No?
not this
Okay.
year. I've for reasons, but
Sure.
yeah.
But you are going to be at the Birmingham Guitar Show.
I am. Yeah, we've got a massive booth, so
boy.
come and say
Amazing.
hello. Come and meet us. I just want to talk to people. That's the only reason I go, really.
Yeah. Well, I called today after our conversation. I called Jason and said, hey, we'd like to come down. And Jason said it's been sold out for 6 months, which I jumped for joy, because we've got a lot of people preaching doom and gloom at the moment. And to hear
That's
that
really
the Birmingham
cool.
Guitar Show has been sold out, the exhibitors sold out for 6 months. It's wonderful.
That is
isn't it?
wonderful.
It's great.
So I'm going to call Jason every day and get him to squeeze us into a corner somewhere.
Yeah, I'll just give up some of my booth. You can come and hang,
Awesome.
do shots or something.
I'm there, bud.
Brilliant.
I'm there.
Brilliant. Thank you, man. Really
Yeah, no
appreciate
worries.
it.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Thanks, everyone.